Have you ever wondered how much you should really be saving each month? Figuring this out is how I went from negative $19,000 of student loan debt to $400,000 in 8 years. I even saved the first $200,000 still making less than 6 figures. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how much money you need to be saving each month based on your income and goals. I'll also include the exact spreadsheet that I use to track my net worth so you can start applying the same strategies even if you start from zero or in debt like I was. To start, let me show you why there's no one size fits all when it comes to saving. Imagine you're a swimming coach and you're training 2 athletes. One athlete has their eyes set on the Olympics, training hard to qualify and compete at the highest level. The other swimmer simply just wants to stay healthy and keep fit at their local gym. So would you give these 2 swimmers the exact same workout plan? Of course not. Their goals and skill levels are totally different, so their training plan needs to be different too. So how do you figure out your savings plan? Well, that comes down to 2 factors, just like the swimming coach example. One will be your income, and your second will be your financial goal, like buying a house, paying off your debt, or retiring early. And here's a simple breakdown that you could follow. If you're just starting out now, aim to save around 5 to 10% of your take-home pay. This will help you build the habit of saving and get you moving in the right direction. If you're looking for a long-term financial stability and a comfortable lifestyle when you're closer to retirement age, then you should aim to target around 20%. For most people, this will be the sweet spot for lasting financial security. If you're starting a bit later in life and you feel like you need to start playing catch up a little bit, push yourself towards saving around 25 to 30% to accelerate your progress. And if you want to be very aggressive because you want to hit financial independence or early retirement, you should try to save closer to 30 to 50% of your after-tax income. Bigger dream just requires a bigger commitment. And now I'll show you how much you should try to save at 3 different income levels. First, if you earn $40,000 per year, that means your monthly take-home pay is around $2,664. So if you're just starting off, aim to save around 5% or $133 per month. For a stable future, you want to save closer to 15% or $400 per month. If you want to be more aggressive with your savings rate, 25 will work great here. So in that case, you'll want to aim to save around at least $650 per month with a $40,000 annual income. Now the second income is if you're earning around $75,000 per year, your monthly take-home pay is around $4,653. And if you're just starting off, aim to save around 10% of that, or it's $465 per month. For a stable future, you again want to save closer to 20%, which will be $930 per month. If you want to be more aggressive with your savings, you'll want to aim for 30% or $1,400 with a $75,000 annual income. Now for the third case, if you earn anything above $100,000 per year, that means your monthly take-home pay is around $5,990 or more. So in this case, you're more likely to have more disposable income than the other 2. So if you're starting off, aim to save around 10% of that, which will be around $600. You're still saving a similar or slightly higher rate, but the amount is obviously higher with the higher income. For a stable future, you want to save closer to 20% again, or $1,200 per month. And if you want to be more aggressive and try to get financial independence, you want to aim for at least $1,800 for a 30% savings rate, or close to $3,000 for 50% of your take-home pay. And remember, if these numbers feel overwhelming right now, that's okay. It's easy to compare your income with others, but the biggest thing is just to start where you're at, even if you're starting off really small. And even if saving a 10% feels too daunting at the start, break that number down into a small number like 5% or even 1% of your take-home pay. So it's just important to just take the first step, and then you can worry about gradually increasing your savings rate later on after a few months. Those small and consistent increases just add up significantly over time. So just remember that your savings plan should always match your personal situation, income, and goals, and not someone else's. Next, I'll show you why it's actually important to keep track of your numbers, even if it feels embarrassing when you're starting off. So imagine you're playing basketball against another team, and you're playing really, really hard. You're running, passing, shooting, giving your all, and you're even diving for loose balls and hustling. But after a while, you look up at the scoreboard and you realize it's turned off. So you don't actually know if you're winning or losing. And when you find out, it's really hard to stay motivated or even adjust your game plans because you don't know how your team is actually doing. So if you're serious about your finances, why wouldn't you keep a score just to see how you're doing every so often? You don't have to look at it every day or every minute, but it's nice to have something that you can always come back to so you know you're moving in the right direction. So this is genuinely why I enjoy filling out my net worth tracker, because I could always see how much progress I've made even after a few months or a few years, especially when the initial journey seemed really slow without much progress. I mean, I started off with negative $13,000 in net worth after graduation. To be honest, it's kind of embarrassing filling out that first line because oftentimes you're kind of ashamed of that number. And you could think of countless other people who are in much better financial situations than you are in. And you have a certain expectations on where you feel like you should be right now. And that negative $13,000 of net worth was once an embarrassing number, became more of a proud moment for me because I now know how far I've come after tracking my numbers. So how do you apply this in your financial situation? They say what gets measured gets managed. And once you see your savings rate clearly in front of you and you figure out exactly where you're at, you'll naturally want to improve it. And then you'll start asking questions like, how much money am I actually making and spending every month? Can I find ways to save more money? What if I increase my savings rate by 1% this month compared to the last? So tracking your savings moves you from the guessing stage to actually knowing where you're at. And you go from, oh, I really hope that I'm saving enough to, I know exactly how much I need to be saving and what I need to do. So your savings tracker isn't just about seeing where you're at. It's a personal scoreboard showing you exactly where you're headed, and it gives you the motivation to figure out how to get there faster. Next, let me show you why most people actually fail when it comes to saving. Most people treat saving money like a crash diet a few weeks before summer starts, or the same goal that you have every New Year's. At the start, they get so fired up and motivated, so they track everything and cut back for a few weeks, and they stop eating out, cancel subscriptions, and pinch every penny. But then life naturally happens, motivation starts fading, and they get tired of doing extra planning. And before long, they're right back to their old spending habits. So why is this important? Because just like dieting, the only savings plan that actually works is the one that you could stick to for a long time. And saving isn't and shouldn't be something that you just suffer through for a month or two. It's the lifestyle that you build and maintain over a few years or even decades. So how do you make saving money a lifestyle instead of a short-term sacrifice? So whether you're thinking about saving 5%, 10%, or even 30% of your take-home pay, it also doesn't need to be all or nothing. Depending on who you are, you don't need to be extreme where you try to save every dollar that you can and not allow yourself to spend on anything. But you also shouldn't spend all your money and not save anything. So depending on how much you think you want to save going forward based on your income and goals, always make sure you keep a few percentage of your money to have fun and actually enjoy the money that you're working so hard for. And find a balance between saving money and spending money where it's actually sustainable, where you still save a good chunk of your income, but you're also having fun along the way. Because if your budget is too restrictive, you'll give up too quickly. So make sure to budget for things that you genuinely enjoy, like going out to the movies, coffee with friends, or even hobbies that you're trying out for the first time. This way you can still spend on things that you love without the guilt. And to be honest, you won't get this balance perfect right off the bat. So if one month you felt like you could have saved more, try to cut out the extra waste from your spending the next month. If you feel like your saving plan is making you miserable, then allow yourself to go out and spend on the things that are important to your personal life. And this balance will keep you motivated while also preventing a burnout. And the secret to winning with money isn't the extreme sacrifices, it's the consistency over time. It's about building good financial habits that you can maintain for years or decades and not just a few weeks and then giving up on it. Now, even though you now know exactly how much you should be saving every month based on your income and goals, your savings could go so much further if you're able to invest that money so your money could start working for you. So watch this video next where I'll reveal the 3 ETFs that will help you replace your paycheck and make your 9 to 5 job entirely optional.